Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode now. I think we're on. Are we on 4th? Oh, God, I'm so. What are we on, guys? I can't remember already. Anyway, welcome. I think we're on 5. Okay, my bad. Welcome to the 5th episode of the Material Podcast. I'm joined as ever with Femi and Dawan. Femi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
Okay, and Dawan, yourself?
The next episode of the podcast.
Yeah, man. So I thought we'd just kick off pretty much where we started last time. So yeah, we were talking about the OnlyFans stuff. So I believe, have you guys managed to watch that documentary that I sent?
Yeah. I've managed to watch. Yeah, I managed to watch it. Yeah.
So yeah, for those of you that weren't here last episode, it was just about like OnlyFans, and I think Febby, you brought it up yesterday, but there was a small documentary by Glink on it. But yeah, what did you guys think of it?
Very strange. I was very surprised by and shocked by the amount of people and the amount of money people are making using this sort of website to obviously take out their privacy, because that's the key word at the end, that people have a privacy at the moment, but because of this website, you're just removing that and outfitting yourself to the world, your looks, things that you sort of some special partner would be seeing rather than anyone in the world, and it's quite open, people showing stuff, and I'm very surprised also by people spending the amount of money they can make on that website. I mean, there are people on online getting involved in it, and the amount of money they're making is ridiculous.
Yeah, even same for me as well, because when watching the documentary, you sort of understand exactly. I can sort of see why obviously people that do use the OnlyFans account do decide to go ahead and create it and use it and do that as a profession, obviously because it makes them a lot of money and everything. But obviously I don't understand the people that pay into it, like the people that go in, like go there and give their hard-earned money to just get like few pictures or I don't know, or a shout out or whatever. I don't understand. But yeah, what I did find from the documentary that they do make a lot of money from it. Everyone is free to do whatever they want. It's their choice if they want to do that. But for me personally, I can't have a partner that that does that. I would rather work harder or go and work like to bring in money than let my partner do that. It doesn't sit well with me. But everyone wants to do their own. Yeah. Or what do you think, Neel, as well? Like, yeah.
Do you know what? Coming back to like the documentary, right? I don't think, for me, for a person, I think you asked the question. I don't think I'll be comfortable. I don't think I'll be comfortable as well. But you know what? It could have been so easy to make that documentary about ripping on these people that are X and Y, and that are like, oh yeah, you're a bad person and you're this, you should be shamed for it. It would have been so easy to do that. But I like the fact that he went out there and go, okay, why? Let's talk to the women. Let's talk to the men that are involved in this. And I think for a free documentary, man, and like 22-minute thing, I think it's great. But yeah, just exposing all the different sides of it. And I think what it is people are just, I think what we've done as a society, we've outporned ourselves, essentially. And if you think about so the internet now has give free porn to everybody. And now people are going, there's everything you could ever want is on the internet now. So people are going, I don't want that. I actually want. They've taken it back. They've taken it back, like in all kind of art forms or whatever. Sometimes you have extra, and then they've just simplified it. They've just gone, right, human to human contact. It's something that I was talking about with a friend yesterday. I was like, that's the thing that people are missing the most out of this, and people that are appreciating how much it means to them, because we're all living with other people. But imagine if you were living on your own during this. That must be hard.
That's probably the most difficult thing. Yeah. As everyone, I don't know if you guys heard before, there's a saying that it's best to have a villain of a friend than having no friend and being lonely. which is true because when you're lonely, you're just thinking of thoughts that you never think of. I mean, I've never been through it, but I've heard people say that, suicide, things like that, things like ghosts around you, some weird sounds that you never hear. So, there's a huge difference, and having someone to talk to, which is right there next to you, is important because, you have someone to talk to and your thoughts are more clearer. Whereas being on your own, you need that support, someone around you to clear out those negative thoughts. But unfortunately, I can understand that in times like this, it's probably the worst. You can't even go to a supermarket. Well, you can go to a supermarket, but you can't go to a shopping center and see your friends or anything like that because of a difficult time. And obviously being alone for more than 2 to 3 months or between 2 to 3 months is there's huge campaigns already for people living lonely or having sort of negative thoughts at the time or some sort of suicide thought.
Yeah. That's what it's true, and that basically that goes into obviously the mental health aspect of play, because I feel like we don't necessarily talk. And now, obviously, people are starting to to say a little bit about mental health, but it would be good if people are a bit more aware and more open about it, because I feel like it's something that's not being really, that people are not comfortable in being open with, because it's very like difficult. Like if you're going through that mental health issue, that struggle, all of that, to come out and say, oh, actually, I'm mentally okay, I'm not mentally stable, I need help, in this, with my mental health. It's basically, to me, it feels, obviously, even for me, if I was that, it would kind of make you feel like, oh, instead of the what people link with mental health, I feel is that like, if you say, oh, I'm not mentally stable, people will instantly think, oh gosh, this person is crazy, instead of them thinking, oh, actually, maybe this person obviously is struggling mentally in terms of like all the stress is dealing with, all of the stuff that at him is just he or she is just trying to deal with it, basically. But it's just, I feel like people need to be educated more in regards to mental health, and I feel like obviously during this pandemic stuff really does did weigh down a lot of people. That people are people that are alone and lonely and don't have anyone to talk to. Normally, obviously, if they're able to go out there and interact with people, they won't have time to sit on their own and think. So that the time now that we have, that people that don't have anyone are able to just sit by themselves and think, it will drive some people, like some people crazy, so it's how they would like to pay into the OnlyFans and get some of like interaction, because I think it's just a pity that it's just instead of I don't know.
I didn't understand what's
what you want to say.
Sorry, what I didn't understand was these people who put a lot of money. I mean, from what the documentary was, sort of like grand money into these other women who they don't know how they really look like. I mean, whoever, those photos might be fake or whatever, that gets sent to them, or videos of whatever they're doing, those women who send it to those guys. But I was thinking, well, if you're that desperate, why don't you just pay for a prostitute? At the end of you've got someone who's physically contacted, as well as you may even have a conversation or go out with them on a date if they if you get lucky.
Yeah,
I know, that's true. That is true. Yeah,
well,
I don't know, man.
It's
very
well.
strange.
It's a legal thing. This is easy to access. First of all, it's legal to meet people in these times, but I guess generally it's a massive. Even the industry. I think part of it. I don't know if this is a part of it. Do you think it's from the fact that we come from a culture that's quite there's that term like repressed Britishness, where people don't say how they really feel, and they kind of like, we're getting better at it. I think society, we're getting better at admitting it. I say that, but then I won't name his name, but there was a footballer recently, we were talking about it for the Beyond the 90 that I do with a couple of mates. And one guy, I won't mention his name, but he put down, just reading, lockdown has made 22% of former current footballers sink into depression or thinking of self-harm. For fuck's sake, grow some, hashtag game gone. So they put that on the group, and I'm like, right. Again, it's not, bearing in mind, this guy's like maybe not even 50. And he used to play for Leicester like 2000 to 2005 or something. So it's not that far away, but that mentality is still very deep. And the problem is, especially for us men, like the more you repress it, the worse. I think I've definitely seen in my family, the worse you repress it, the more it's like a balloon. It will just pop up the other side. And it's the best to try and express yourself, especially to people that, I don't know, in these times I've been trying to reach out to other people as well, that like for example, you guys, we've definitely been speaking more often than we usually do.
Yeah, that's definitely true, because as you said, that, you know, especially we men, obviously in society we've always been told that, you know, you need to be this. We find it very difficult to express ourselves, you know. Stuff, if you're going through like hardship, you know, you would rather just be like, okay, I'm a man, I need to get this sorted out myself. I won't tell anybody else. Try and get this done. Usually is what that tends to put a lot of weight and a lot of stress on. I don't want to say, obviously I don't want to just generalize it to men, obviously women to go through it as well, but obviously more men tend to commit suicide than women, and obviously that's due to the fact that their mental health is not necessarily all of the demands that's being made for men. It's not even just the demands as well. It's also the crucifixion of men as well. Like always telling them that, oh, your masculinity is toxic, you can't do that, you're that. And most men growing up are just confused, really. That's why you see men always trying to look for some kind of like a role model, someone to look up to and follow. Obviously, we have some of that now, but I would say that as the time is going and as we're moving more and more into the future, it seems like we're having the wrong kind of role model. So men in general are just lost and don't necessarily know what to do. So most of the time we tend to just fall into depression and we're just like lost, basically. Women to go through it as well, but I'm just obviously coming from the side of what men tend to feel around even men at our age, like 25, 26, 30. Imagine like being that age and having mental problem, having depression, and it's crazy how it works. But it's just, I just feel like if society can just be more open to someone when they come out and say, actually, I'm not okay, I need help. So people to ridicule them, try and support them, you know, that it tends to help. It tends to really, really help. Have you guys heard of a guy called Etika?
It's only recently, yeah. Guy. I've only heard it recently because of the controversy with with the H3H3 thing.
Yeah. So I'll tell you who Etika is doing, because you probably don't know. So Etika is this like I think it's 29. I think not this year, it would have turned 30. So he's basically like this dude who's like a YouTuber. He's very good. His personality and everything is very charismatic. He can capture people, and he's dead now because he committed suicide, I think around mid last year. And the problem he was struggling with his mental health, you know. But the fact, you know, no one necessarily took it that seriously. No one believed him. Like the way he would go out of, have an outburst and the way he would act, no one necessarily believed, basically, and no one took the sort of issue that he was having seriously. That it pushed him to a point where he felt as if he had no one around him or no one he could talk to, and what he did was he ended up obviously jumping off a bridge and drowned. So it's those cases like that should sort of show people that, whoa, that gosh, are struggling, instead of making fun of them and just telling them to suck it up, that you're weak. Extend hands out and try and help them, no matter how much they feel like they don't need the help. Try and talk to them. It's always helpful when you do that. But it's crazy though. What do you guys think of it?
You want to go to one?
Do you guys have any?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what to say. I mean, the fact that he's obviously this Etika guy, unfortunately, committing suicide because of all these, loneliness or whatever thoughts he's having, and he needed support, and he's not obviously getting that, and then unfortunately drowning to end his life is quite a sad story. It's just, I'm not familiar with, the YouTuber or what sort of content he was trying to address to the public, but maybe in some ways, I mean, I haven't seen any of his content. Maybe in some ways there were hints of he needs some sort of support, and maybe nobody did unfortunately answer to him.
Yeah, man. No, I agree. I was only brought up to it recently because of the H3H3 thing, and the people like. One guy was I don't want to even say his name just in case he gets more publicity, but he was egging him on, just kind of, you should do this. It was this bit of another guy on YouTube was like, oh yeah, gossip. He's like, oh well, if you actually you're not, it's so stupid. But yeah, man, it is important. I've got unfortunately a track history of mental health in my family, so I've got to be very aware. I've got to be just very wary of that, because I don't think anything will happen, but at the same time, you just got to keep it in the back of your mind, kind of thing. Especially abusing alcohol. That's a huge thing as like a cover up, and especially I think in a society, like I think Dawan, we used to have Femi, you know him as well, but I'll tell you who he was after the podcast. But I'll say the twin, one of the twins that was on our course, and we had a night out one time. And I think he was afterwards. He was talking to Dawan, and he was quite drunk, but he was opening up. He was saying all these stuff about about this person, and do you know that girl was really cute and blah blah blah. We'd never heard him talk like that, because it was usually it'd be a bit more, what's the word? It'd be a little bit more standoff and so go for it.
He would be a bit too close, wouldn't he? Before, like, when he's sober, he would be just a bit more calm, or anything emotional he wouldn't express to us. But the fact that this sort of alcohol sort of opened up ways of his minds that we've not seen before is a very odd, and I don't know if it's the word scary, but it's just. It's this one drug can do that to you. It's an interesting area, but it's crazy at the same time.
Yeah, and so he was opening up about all this stuff again. I don't know if you know that, Femi, but it was like when we were heard. I went to bed by then, but he was telling Dawan. I was like, what the hell? Went to kind of talk to him tomorrow morning. Didn't want anything to do with it. Didn't want to what happened? No, it's all right, whatever. And he just hid it and buried it. And I was like, right, okay, this is not good. And if you just be upfront and honest with it, then cool. Then we're not going to judge you for it. He'd known us for a while, but I guess that's kind of I don't know if that is a British thing or a repressiveness, but we use alcohol as like especially when I go abroad, right? And they say, oh, I'm English, and the fact that I don't drink, right, is not a big thing, but they go, oh, but English, like when they get drunk, we just known to do stupid stuff, just everywhere in the world. I think we're considered like the worst tourists in the world because only because of that reason.
Even though I'm British myself, I would say British people are the worst people abroad.
Only if they stay sober, they'd be fine.
Yeah, that is true.
And they
Yeah,
don't.
I know. Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah. If they're they're very quiet. Yeah, if they're sober, very under control, quiet, docile people. But the moment, obviously, they just get to that limit of drunkenness, they you just let everything go and just go
Gets
crazy.
ruined, innit?
Yeah. I had this one thing, right?
It's crazy.
When I was in Amsterdam, so I'd met two guys that I actually recorded a podcast with a while. Two Canadian guys, right? We're sitting there playing cards with one another, and then somebody else is with us as well. And this guy comes over. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "Oh, you from England?" "Yeah, he's from Bristol." I was like, "Oh, it's nice to meet you, whatever." And so he had a drink in his hand. I'm like, "Yeah, he's having one drink. It's at a hostel. Like, we're just sitting there playing games, whatever. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's kind of normal for like if on a weekend or whatever." So he's joined us, no problem. Had a good time. And they were like, "No, well, we're gonna." And then one of the Canadians guys, "Oh, well, we went on a tour today, and the tour guide's actually a stand-up comedian. So do you guys want to come to a stand-up comedy gig?" He goes, "It's in English and everything." So I was like, "Yeah, do you know what? Whatever. That's cool. We'll go for it with you." So we all went. So the four of us went. So me, two Canadians, and this other English guy went over, and they're like, "Oh, do you want it? We'll go to the bar first." I was like, "Yeah, we'll go to the bar, no problem." And I didn't know what to do because I don't drink. I was like, "Yeah, I'll have an orange juice or whatever." They're, "Yeah, that's fine." Them three had like a drink or so. But I remember the British guy going, "I'll get 3." I went, "Whoa, that's a bit." I was like, "Okay, no problem." And then even during the stand-up set, he just kept necking him, and just there was no concept of just slow down and chill. There was just all like, "I have to have another one." Even the Canadian guys were looking at me going, "What's wrong with him?" And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's happening. And then afterwards we were coming back, and he started heckling. He started like, that's funny. Oh, that's not funny." And I'm like, "Dude, shut up!" Like in my head, I'm like, "What is this dude doing?" And also, it's a stand-up comedy where they will get you on stage and they will roast you. This is not like it's not good. But yeah, it was just the whole thing of like, even abroad in Amsterdam, like we went to this cake and we're coming back, and he was like he just changed his personality, and it was like he was very like a bit more loud and aggressive and stuff.
Drinking in a stand-up comedy, that's quite crazy though. Because how are you going to remember the jokes, or how are you focused on the jokes? Because you got to listen,
Yeah, I don't get when people do it to music. That's what I don't get. People are not just all sorts of drugs people are on, man. And then they're like, I met up with some people afterwards. They're like, "Oh, I can't remember it. I didn't find them in the venue," but they're like, "Oh, I can't remember that." And I'm like, "You paid £50 a bloody ticket. Like, you're going to spend all that money plus the money on drugs or whatever. Then you're going to not remember the night. Do you know how stupid you sound?" And without trying to go too much into stereotypes, these people are Irish.
Yeah, that's different.
So, failing all the stereotypes there.
Oh,
but yeah,
gosh.
I just thought that was, again, it's just I'm just like, what? Why? It's a beautiful venue. The people were really nice. People weren't drunk. It was when I went to Prague. People weren't drunk off their face. People just there having a good time. It was really, really like, it was good and really nice atmosphere. And they're like, "Oh, I can't remember it. I was off my face." And I know British off your face as well.
Yeah. Wow, that is crazy, man. That is crazy. Well, obviously for myself, I don't. For me to actually have a good time, I need to not be drunk. Because if I'm drunk, I won't know what I'm doing. So usually for me anyway, if I have something to drink, but not necessarily get myself drunk to it, I can enjoy myself out. That would be it. So I usually find it very, very strange when obviously people need to get extremely drunk that they'll be falling over on the street and puking and sitting in their own puke and all of those things. It's disgusting, man. But everyone has their own way of living. Everyone has their own life to live, So it's up to them. But It's,
I would say
as you said, it's like a British thing.
I would say the most amazing thing is the concept of the human mind, because that at the end of the day, that's what makes us unique from one another. Yeah, of course, looks you can say, but it's just more about the mind, because how that mind is, the thoughts process to make those decisions. Like, for example, someone getting drunk to forget, deny it. Whatever's going to happen tonight, I'm going to forget it. I mean, whatever goes through, the thoughts to go through is ridiculous. Versus someone who says, I want to remember today because I want today to be a very special occasion. I'm going to try and, make whoever I'm going to be out with to make them happy and enjoy it. And hopefully this can be one of the nights to remember. I mean, the two different concepts here is quite interesting. Yeah. But this is what's special about the human, the human mind itself, is that one person and another could have lived, 50 years together, and they would still have this different thought process, which is weird.
No, that is very true. That is very true. But yeah, it's true. But it's just everyone have their own way of living, and everyone have their own way of doing things. Like for American now, it seems that for Americans, obviously not bashing Americans or this thing, just going off by obviously what we see on TV. Obviously, we know British people and English people, whatnot, and Irish people. Our one is drinking. Yeah, American people, it's food. Food seems to be their own. If you mention America, everyone knows that. Oh gosh, they eat a lot. Everything there is massive. The McDonald's. Yeah, you've been to America, right? And didn't you say that their own McDonald's, their own Big Macs is like double the size of our Big Macs over here, and their own drink. I think you said your own medium or small is like our own large. Exactly.
Yeah, when I went to
it's so crazy. Like the other.
Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit, but
I'm there.
persevere.
Go on. Yeah.
So there was one bit that we went to, like Florida, right, and that's like deep South territory. So I think we were 4. I was about 13 at the time. So there's 5 of us in our family. So with all of 5 of us, right, we had a $1 menu meal, and that was filling for all of us each. So we had $5, and we got a drink, a burger, fries. I think that was it, right? And so then, bearing in mind, my dad, my mum, they all had just $1, and that was honestly filling for us. Then also we went to IHOP, so it's called IHOP, International House of Pancakes. So what happened is that we went there every morning before and it was our breakfast. So American pancakes, like really thick and quite big. So they're about, I don't know, like they're about they're big, thick. You can Google them, you'll find out like what size American pancakes are. So we would order, I think 1 or 2 stacks each, or 2 stacks for the whole 5 of us. And the waiter would look at us confused, going, "Okay, so what is everybody else having?" No, that's enough for all of us. And genuinely, Femi, we would eat 2 stacks of pancakes for the 5 of us, and that would be enough. And we'd have maple syrup and I think the strawberry sauce on the table, like as standard condiments for your pancakes. There was people there having 2 stacks of pancakes plus a full like English equivalent breakfast plus other stuff. And it was I just couldn't get over how big the portions were. And it's crazy because a lot of the stuff that's there is the laws are different to the laws in the UK as well, which are the laws in the EU, which is a lot of the chemicals they use are actually banned in the EU. They're like, no, we're not allowed this. This actually causes cancer and blah, blah, blah. This is not good for you. There's that side of it. And also, there isn't really a lot of vegetables and like stuff that fills you up. So, for example, when we went to New York another time, we had like a 22-inch pizza. 22 inches, a massive, massive pizza. I finished a quarter of that without realizing. Because there was nothing in that was like substance. It was like, I don't know, like a barbecue meat pizza kind of thing. And barbecue meat pizza. And so I just wolfed it down, the whole thing, like a quarter of it without even realizing. Because your body doesn't know what to do with that info. Because normally, if it's like, oh, I've got a vegetable, okay, I take this vegetable, I get the nutrients out of it, and then I've got the fiber. Okay, I'll process the fiber in the small intestine and get rid of whatever's needed. But with that, it just doesn't know what to do, and it just kind of goes, your body just kind of, well, I'm waiting for it's. You're putting food in, but it's still waiting for the nutrients to grab hold of. I'm not a doctor, I don't know, but do you know what I mean? It's like your body goes, okay.
Yeah.
And especially since I've been getting older, I tell you what, like the amount of nutrients I've realized, like eating salads and fruits and stuff is super. Your body goes, okay, thank you for like feeding me this good stuff. I can't abuse my body like we did when I was a teenager.
Yeah, there are definitely. Even I noticed that as well. That as I was getting older, it's like it's like you can't eat as much junk as you used to. Like, but I remember when I was like 18,
Yeah.
17, all I just needed to do is if I can, because I can go and eat from a restaurant, and after eating from a restaurant, break to McDonald's and still eat from McDonald's, and still go to Burger King, buy something from Burger King, and the moment I get home, eat and I wait on, like I will still feel like, oh, okay, I'm good. But now that I'm older, all I just need to eat is, I don't know, a sandwich, and the love handles start coming back. You know the side of your stomach. when I started work, my first job, and obviously I was like, and for lunchtime, I tend to just different type of sandwiches, and before I noticed, a month went by, and I just like looked at my stomach, and I just looked at the side, and I was like, yo, what is this coming out from the side of my stomach? Because literally, like, what the stuff that didn't used to be there now are coming in. Like, now my metabolism is literally slowed down. It's not like how it was before, where you can eat whatever you want, you can eat as much as you want, and you can still be skinny basically. So it's crazy just to see changes.
How you're moving around, because obviously when we're kids, you're moving around, you're running, you're jumping here and there. Like now you're just walking, or even especially now I'm just most of the time sitting down. So I'm trying to eat as much less, so like have one meal a day, because I'm not moving around much. Just break it down. And then not even just the metabolism, but also the fact that you're not burning those calories. It can you feel the metabolism is slow, but it's actually the fact that you're probably eating a lot, like emotionally eating as well is bad for you, and a lot of these psychological eating effects of people are eating because they're upset, or they're eating because they're watching a movie. For example, when you're going to a cinema, you got popcorn. I mean, especially every time it happens to me, when I've got popcorn in my arms, regardless of who's next to me, when I start eating, you gotta pray to God that you take it off before I finish it off.
Yeah. Do you know what's actually crazy as well?
It's crazy.
Since I've gone like vegan and stuff, it was about last July now. My metabolism went back to what it was as a teenager. I swear to you, that's true. Like I've lost weight back in my face. Yeah, I swear, because I'm eating like more vegetables and stuff, and my body is like, okay, cool. And there is like science to it as well. But I remember feeling it going, man, my face has slimmed down. And you guys know me, I'm a skinny guy. I've always been a skinny guy, but I lost, and I was eating until I was full. I promise you, I was not. You know me, I eat until I'm full. I'll take my time, but I will eat. And my abs got more defined. Like I lost weight in my face. I realized as well. It was crazy, but it went back to like when I was like doing a lot of like long distance running and stuff like that. And it was crazy because I was like, I just thought this is exactly what you guys were saying. Like your metabolism just slows down. There's nothing you can do about it. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. And I realized, because I was eating mostly healthy food as well. I'm not really eating that much processed stuff. And that makes, again, the same thing with the pizza thing. Because it's actual proper stuff, your body knows what to do with it. So we just process it properly.
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
that's
quite a lot of food are being processed, or let's say, for example, rice. I was reading about it that there's actually rice being created as plastic. So you look at the rice, looks exactly the same as normal rice. You cook it, and the plastic ones. However you cook it, it will always turn out the same. But the real rice, you have to do it specifically to turn out good. And usually it's obviously the better the quality, the better the rice, but that it turns out. But I realized that if you light up some rice, with fire and try to burn it, like a group of them, you can have two effects. One would be they become little ashes. So if they burn into ashes, that means it's real. It's not fake. But if it takes a very long while for it to burn and it's in flames and you smell a plastic, then you can tell that that's obviously fake rice. And these things aren't what our bodies are used to. Obviously 30, 40 years ago, people weren't having that. They were eating real rice and it was more healthy. But now these different types of rices are making us constipated and affecting our bodies in all negative ways. And it's obviously, our bodies aren't used to that. And we're getting into an area of life that where we may end up eating food that one, we're not used to, but two, we've always thought, wow, I would never eat that, and we may get into that area of eating things like cockroaches or whatever, because I think they were doing a test, I remember reading once, where they made pizza out of cockroach and sort of rubbish, dirty bugs. Apparently that's where the new area of food is going to go into.
Yeah, man, just ignore that stuff.
Insect and what?
Just get on the vegetables, bro. Vegetable and fruit. It's just our body knows what it's doing with it.
Of course. I mean, vegetables and stuff just become. I mean, you don't have to be a total vegan. You can always eat once a week or once a month, whatever you feel. But obviously, eat as much. I mean, I'm not a vegetarian, but I still eat my vegetables. I eat fruit. I have salad. I have rice, chicken, and stuff. I always have salad by it, or fruits in the evenings. It's always good for you to mix your body up. You don't want to just have one type of food every day of your life.
Yeah, I agree, man.
That's very true. Neel, so are you still a vegan now?
Yeah. I honestly, I swear to you, I don't think I'll ever go back to eating meat.
At all.
Nah.
So
I feel that good. I wouldn't go back, guys. I honestly, my only issue is if I'm going traveling and stuff, then it might be a bit of an issue. But I'll try and eat as clean, but I can just order a salad and stuff from somewhere, or I genuinely don't. I don't think I'll eat meat for the rest of my life now, because I feel that different and just better from it.
Whatever country you go to, there will always be a falafel.
Wait, what's that?
What were you saying, Dawan?
What was
wherever country you go to nowadays, you always have a falafel or a noodle or something. That's obviously there will be vegetarian options, I would say.
Yeah, man. It's that, and also there's the vegan. There's a vegan craze at the moment, and I kind of get it because A, I'm on it, but B, I want it to be proper whole foods. Do you know what I mean? Rather than the this is pretending to be meat, or this is pretending to be something else, or processed stuff. I'd rather have the proper vegetables and stuff, or the lentil soups and stuff like that. I don't know if you have it in your. I know they've got it in Turkish and Kurdish culture, and they've got it in India culture. Do you have it in yours, Femi? Like lentil soups and stuff like that?
Lentil. I'm sure they probably do. I'm not. They might not call it lentil. What was it called again? Lentils.
Lentils.
They probably do.
Yeah.
They probably do. They probably do. As long as they have.
Yeah, man. For me, it was just simplifying everything. It was just right, fruit, veg, cool. Okay. Even if it's little bit, just try not to go too heavy on the oil. And if I'm doing even the frozen stuff, you get frozen couscous and vegetables and stuff. Bung that in, have a main stuff, and I'm good. And it's crazy how much it's changed, and I just feel so much better from it.
Wow.
It's definitely.
Wow, that's yeah, because obviously, I didn't even notice because obviously there's this stigma with veganism that obviously that it's that oh that obviously most like some vegans would be extreme in their case where they would demand that everyone you know go their way or stop eating meat, always be extremely demanding basically. And that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. That's why I was very surprised when you said you're vegan because you still sound like you still act and sound like the Neil that I've always known. So that's why I'm like, oh god, that's
What
not
it is, what it is, man, is it's like any, you know, like any subject, it's like people that are like, you think about feminism, you think about people that are religious, you think about the extremes. Most people that are feminist or religious or blah blah blah, they're not on the fringe, but the fringe, it's the way that Muslims get portrayed in the media. What are they portrayed as? It's the extreme right wing, like the proper nutters that are doing it for political reasons. They're the people that get focused on, especially in like it's like most people like we grew up in multicultural society. You're Muslim, like, yeah, whatever. He's got like some kids. He got like, you know, Muhammad. He's got kids, got family. He's just worried about paying off his mortgage. He's just a standard dude. Like, there's not that much special about him. And there's, if you don't know any, then the only perception that you're going to get is from the media and their perception of stuff. And it's the same thing with veganism, I find. But I do get why people are angry because like there's the whole food plant-based diet, right, which is what the like preferred veganism is to follow. It reverses 14 of the leading 15 diseases that we have in the West. Like, you know, like a lot of the diseases we have in with like diabetes, coronary heart disease, gout and stuff like that. I don't know if gout's in the top 15, but a lot of them are preventable. They're all preventable. So that's why a lot of them are annoyed. There's different areas to it. Like every religion, there's different areas to it. So people are doing it for fitness. There's one, I think one of the strongest guys in the world is like vegan. There's people that I found out recently that are vegan that I didn't even know. Lewis Hamilton, Lionel Messi, Sergio Aguero, Arnold Schwarzenegger is now a vegan. Like, these guys are not doing it. Yeah, it's crazy. Have a look at there's one called The Game Changers, right? It's crazy. Jackie Chan like helped fund it. David Cameron helped build it as well. So the one of the famous directors in the world. It's a massive thing. Wow. And it's coming back to a time where we're getting it from the source, and it's really interesting. Also, it's a guy that hosts it used to be an MMA fighter, and he did it because of he was saying he looked at the gladiators and how they mostly were like vegetarians and stuff, and then he goes, because basically he tore both of his knees or his legs or something, and the idea is that he wanted to recover as quick as possible just to get back in the frame of things. Super interesting, like the Game Changers documentary. But yeah, they have all these other people on that are like doing it as well. But there's that side, there's a health side to it, there's the animal rights side to it, because like I think I can't remember how much, but even at the moment with like the meat, there's a shortage of meat. People are going towards, there's just the way they're treating the animals is no good. There's the environmental aspect where like growing these animals and they're producing methane and stuff, and that's not good for you. So there's loads of different ways of looking at it, but I don't know, it depends on what. But I do think the way forward is to have less processed stuff, and that includes a lot of processed meat as well, and meat in general. Because one thing that was sick on the documentary, they were like, meat is a #1 carcinogen, and it was like, so that's classed alongside cigarettes and like asbestos and stuff like that is processed meat, and then level 2 down of cancer causing stuff is meat. And again, I know I'm getting into it feels like I'm getting into a bit of a rant here about veganism or whatever, but it's because I just looked at it and I went, I can't be contributing to this kind of stuff and the suffering. So I don't know. So I went, and honestly, it was a bit like you got to eat more stuff because meat is more dense. Like if you think about like eating a salad the size of a piece of chicken, like a chicken breast, it's not going to have as much calories in it, so you got to eat more of it. But there's still there's a load of protein and stuff in it. I've been able to put on muscle easier. Honestly, it's crazy, but I don't want to feel like I'm getting into it. But at the same time, honestly, if you guys know me, I'm never trying to push religion or whatever down my throat, but I feel better. And it's like I'm not contributing to like this animal crisis that we're going through. And another, like, look at, for example, the coronavirus that we're going through. We've got to done it again, haven't we? We'll come back to it. But it started from a market where animals are contaminating one another. And a lot of, because of the confined space, it spread to humans. So again, that's from eating animals.
I totally.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It was coming from bats, wasn't it? According to the reports, that the source was some bat soup or whatever it was that people were cooking, and then all of a sudden now it's affecting millions of people worldwide.
I know, yeah. That's what they. Yeah. We don't necessarily. No one even knows the true fact. But what you were saying about veganism, Neel, it is true. Yeah, you can see the benefits, but obviously it's just that the way, like how you've just explained it right now. If that's how others that try to get that kind of point, if that's how it's being explained, I feel like people won't necessarily have any problem with it. But it's the way they sort of go about it. It's like they're trying to force it on people, and the one thing you can't do to people is trying to force an ideology on them, because when you try and do that, no one will listen. But like how you've just explained it, you've given the statistics, you've just given what you've read and everything. It's understandable. And then you leave it for people to obviously make their own decision and be like, oh, okay, it might actually be something.
Yeah, man, and I agree. And something else that because it feels like people are going, what it is that people are angry and they're not doing it in the right way. Because if you want to help somebody, there is like a thing in like especially Hindi, and it's called a himsa, which is like, how can I help you? It's not about, but again, people have tried different tactics, and the problem is the meat and dairy industry is bigger than the oil industry, and we went to war over oil. So if you think about it that way, there is a media bias, and gotta remember that the government supports farms and stuff like that as well. So there's always a reason why it's being portrayed negatively, because the negative impacts of it are going to affect so many other industries. But it's an industry that we'll have a look at what's going on in America, where that is spreading like wildfire in the pig farms and the pig industry, because it's passing from animal to pig to animal to pig, and they've got no safety gear. And that's one thing as well. I'm glad I'm out of that, because I'm not funding I'm not putting money into these people that have to work, but and a lot of them get PTSD, and like, because they're slaughtering animals. That can't be fun. Like, just 8-hour shift, all you're doing is killing animals that don't want to be killed. Like, that's got to take its toll on you even after a month or so. But again, it's like the reason why they're angry is because they get portrayed as that, because they're not seeing the other side to it, and they're always come up with like bullshit arguments. In my opinion, where do you get your protein from? Well, the average person gets 50% of their protein from plants and stuff like that. There's amazing like nutritional people out there that are doing really cool stuff, that are not even like they're labeled as vegan doctors, but they're just doctors that follow the evidence. Do you know what I mean? So there's this industry. I'll tell you, the industry is big. The meat industry is bigger than oil worldwide. So you think about how much oil we depend on, meat we depend on even more. So they're going to try and twist it and frame it, and there's always going to be studies that saying meat is good, blah blah blah, because the meat industry funds them studies to actually do the research on them. So it's I don't know, man. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, because it is literally like that, and that's why people get frustrated. Do you know what I mean? That's what, especially with veganism, they get frustrated when my dad brought home a newspaper. They said, we're going to have loads of heart attacks and blah, blah, blah. And it's because the saturated fat from animals' fat is clogging up the arteries. And that's what's causing people to have heart attacks. And it's one of the biggest killers is like heart problems. But just knowing that that this is reversible, let alone like you can stop it, you can reverse it. This should be the standard diet for people, to eat vegetables and fruit and non-processed stuff. This is why I think a lot of vegans get annoyed at the same time, because we're like, well, we know the answer. Government just do it. But there's so much industry in it, man, that they profit off you being sick. And then once you're sick, they can sell you medication. And once you're on medication, then and then you don't come off the medication. You stay on the medication for life.
Nowadays, where there are these, I don't know, vegetarian food acting like actual meat. They taste like meat, but they're not really meat, but they're sort of vegetarian. I don't know what's the right word that they use for.
It's like mock meat.
Something like that, yeah, but I'm not sure what they exactly call it in science wise. But I've tried some, that act like chicken. There used to be this brand, I think, Corn, used to make it. I mean, it was high in salt, but when you taste it, at first you were like, okay, it does actually taste like chicken in your mind, but it isn't chicken. And when you taste it, it's so salty as well. But you can taste the salt, but it's just weird, we're getting into this area. If you really like meat, go for eating the real meat. Don't have to substitute. To get away from meat and just, have your vegetarians or whatever you actually want, to eat, go for that. I mean, I don't like the fact that there are these options of people who hate tomatoes, and now they're going to go into this area of, we're going to make tomatoes more tastier with, because I remember there used to be grapes that taste like marshmallows. So what's going on here? No, I'm not even drinking. There's actually
no. I get you.
Yeah, no, not marshmallows. Sorry, it's strawberries. So they had this grapes. And I tried to taste it, and they had it like a test in Tesco. I went there, and luckily this day for me, they had these different tastes, and they said this grape tastes like strawberries, this one tastes like orange, and this one tastes like banana. I was like, well, what are you doing? Why don't I just go buy the banana if I want to buy banana? If I want to buy grapes, I want to buy the real grape. Why are you creating these weird tastes? And then trying to muck up my mind. I mean, I'm already confused with this world. Why are you doing this thing as well? So it's very weird that the way, they're trying to create these new things for people to try, which doesn't make sense to me. Like,
it's novelty, why would bro. They're always doing it. You look at every fast food campaign, regardless of it. They're always like, because you get bored of the same thing. I forgot what it's called now. I forgot the effect it's called. But what it is, if you get used to the same thing over and over again, it's Coolidge effect. That's it. So what happens is that if you watch it's the reason we're always seeking novelty as humans, right? So if you get the same beef burger all the time, then they bring out a spicy beef burger, it takes it back up to when you first had that original beef burger. So that novelty keeps you coming back. Right. It's like it's the same thing they do with like gambling, like the gambling machines. It's the same thing they do with other stuff, but there's always incentives to keep you coming back and get you addicted, essentially. And that's the stuff that they're trying to hook you in with. Another one is sugar. Like, a lot of stuff has sugar, like the amount of stuff that's got sugar in and added sugar, because they've sweetened it so that the more sugar you put in, the more somebody's going to eat it again. Simple as. And especially like the processed sugar, because it's cheaper than actual proper cane sugar that comes from like the sugar cane or whatever. It's cheaper to do that. So that's another, again, processed stuff again. But no, I get what you mean. But at the same time, with the vegan stuff, with the mock meat stuff, the thing is, if I go to if we go out for a meal, right, and we go to a burger joint, the chances are I won't be able to get anything, but at least I'll have a pretend burger that I can have with you guys, because I don't want to miss out on that, having to eat at home or just sitting with you and not having anything. At least I'll have that burger with you, which is all right. But the issue is, I find that at least there's the option, and it's not hurting people, it's better for you. And a lot of the doctors that are going and saying it's good because it transitions people to vegetables, or it gives people a gap, that if some guy was going to have a beef burger, they'll go, I'll try a pretend burger instead. And then if they go from that to the vegetables, then that's better for them. And it's like a smoker going on to nicotine patches. You're not supposed to stay on nicotine patches. You're supposed to come off cigarettes altogether. But that's like a good step down. That's one of the reasons why they've done it. And it's honestly, it's going to be that was saying it's going to be a massive industry coming forward, like a huge industry.
Yeah.
Femi, you there?
That's yeah, I'm there. Yeah, I'm there. I just got disconnected for a while. But yeah, I'm here. Yeah, so I know what you're saying. It's true, obviously, because of there are people that do benefit from the industry. Then yeah, it's not really easy to change. It's not gonna be. It's always gonna be there. But what I would just want to say is obviously, either you're a vegan, either you're not a vegan, either you're a vegetarian, pescatarian, whatever-tarian, or you're not an anitarian, whatever one you want to be, is to just find a balance. Just find a balance. What you feel that's healthy, what you feel that is healthy for yourself. That's what you can do. What you feel that what you're comfortable with, you can do that instead, and just try and live life basically, because life is too short, and it's a shame that obviously that of killing other animals. What's going on? My phone is playing up. It's a shame that obviously killing obviously killing animals and stuff, in order for us to feed is bad. But I just get a feeling that like the way what's going on, the way the food chain with different animals, it's a bit strange. Like you obviously get every other animals eating other animals, and it's just like that's just been embedded in the I don't know, the design of this world that we're living in. Obviously, you get lions eating deers, eating other animals. You get like freaking rats eating worms, eating. It's just bizarre. And obviously, if you look at it, that obviously we humans are from other animals, simply following the cycle as well and eating other animals, and it's cruel. It is cruel.
Yes.
And obviously we're sensible enough to know that it's cruel, but it's just it's just a
so
shame.
much, animals being slaughtered, and then at the end of the day, people making waste of that meat. For example, there's all these meats being frozen and stuff like that, taken to shops, and then people don't buy it, and then they past their due date, they have to throw it in the bin, burn it, or whatever they have to do to take it away. It feels like those animals unfortunately die for nothing. If people are eating it, all right, fine. But if they're not eating it and it's wasted, it feels like that animal didn't die for anything. And you don't want that. That's where I think the cruelty will come into play, because you're just killing for some sort of activity than actually doing something about it.
Well, it's only certain parts as well that we eat. If you think about it, like for a chicken, people just want the wings and the legs. The rest can go. Nobody's eating chicken heads or chicken. It's like if somebody's eating chicken heads and chicken feet, you're like, what's wrong with you? But then they just melt that stuff down and put it into whatever that pink stuff that ends up putting into like chicken nuggets or whatever.
Yeah, but in my country, like Nigeria, they tend to not waste. It's in the West that obviously it's in the West that people are very, very wasteful. But obviously in Nigeria, they don't waste any part. They make sure, even if they're not eating, they would either use it to make some sort of, if they're going to have to use it to make another item, they're going to use it. But they make sure that obviously the animal that they do kill is not killed and then just like wasted away. Because I'm sure I heard the story where they were saying they will kill, I don't know if it's China or I can't remember which country, that they will kill an entire shark just for its fin.
Yeah.
Like
they
whole
just
shark.
cut the fin off and throw it back in the ocean. But that's like tying your legs and hands together, just dropping you in the ocean.
Oh God,
yeah. That in itself is extremely selfish, and like that's obviously the part that we humans are extremely selfish in. Like, we don't need to do that. We really do not need to be that selfish and that wasteful. You know, we don't need to, but we still do it
as well.
And
at the same time, we do that stuff to the ocean. Like, when people go through the ocean and they drag the sea nets across and take up all the bottom bits that fish feed on, the fish aren't there anymore. And there's all sorts of stuff like that, and it's for the resourcefulness, and also it's just, I don't know. I just, looking back at it, it's kind of like, you know, people that have stopped smoking, they find it weird now. That's how I feel about it. It's like, it's just a weird habit that we picked up, and then along the way, it's just it used to be considered luxury. Now it's everybody's got it, and these conditions aren't very good. And yeah, I've sent you one of my, this guy called Neil Barnard, who's really, really good when he was talking about like, he grew up on a dairy farm, and he did like dairy milking and stuff like that. And honestly, you look at him in that video, or you Google him, and you look how old he is, and the dude looks 20 years younger than he actually is. And he doesn't do anything. He's I think he's a doctor, and he works, but he's on that video. He's so good. He's so patient with stuff, but he explains everything in detail, and he tells you the process of when he was a doctor and what made him go through. And like, I think he'll mention it there where he goes, he was working as an intern at one of the hospitals, and he was working in the heart unit. So this patient had died, and the morgue, that's it. The only people, they had to put them in like basically when they pass away from hospital, they'd go down to the bottom bit, and nobody wanted to go there. But because he's an intern, that's the job he had to do. So he put people down, and he was just, he goes, it was just finding the number of people that had the heart problems, and he's counting them. And he goes, and the senior doctor was like, look, all of this is done by meat. All of this is by meat, and this is what it does to you. And then he went up to, and he goes, oh shit, I had a little bit of like, then he went like reflection. Then so he's looking at the ribs and how they've opened and examining the heart. Then he went up to the cafeteria to have dinner, and then he smelled again. He goes, what's that smell? He goes, it's the ribs, but it's from a pig, because it's so similar. He goes, it smells like that human flesh. And he goes, after that, he goes, it didn't give, he goes, that didn't stop me giving up meat. He goes, but he goes, after I did my research, after I started my stuff, and he's now one of the biggest proponents of like whole food, plant-based stuff. But yeah, I've sent you the video on it. It's super interesting about and the way he debates stuff, because I'm no good at it, because I'm a bit soft, not gonna lie. But he doesn't debate in a way that you think he's gonna come after people. But he'll be he debates him in the terms of like, not even debate, he'll just explain what the science is. And it's super interesting, man, if you get a chance to watch it. And he's talking about the industries that are going into it. Yeah. And the thing is, when I say it like this, it does sound a bit conspiracy theory. I realized. But honestly, it's worth checking out. If you type in London Real Neil Barnard onto YouTube after this, for those that are listening, it would definitely be beneficial. But for me, yeah, it was one of the videos I was watching. I was like, this science just makes sense. And I know everybody says that, but that for me was one of the reasons why I went. And I tried it for a bit. I went vegetarian initially to kind of like, I don't want to be part of meat, and I felt okay. Then I went vegan, and especially like I was eating most of my diet is like not processed food, and that makes a huge difference. Huge, you know, you like sometimes you crave. It's weird, man. I crave like fruit. Oh, you know, you were saying, Dawan, like fruit where you like. I remember I've come to your house before, and we've just had like, or your wedding where we just had like a load of fruit, and it was just that was just so nice to have, and it's like light, and it doesn't like fill you up and stodgy, but your body knows what to do with it, and I was like, so I crave stuff like fruit. You asked me that when I was 16. You know, same way you're saying, Femi, like the junk food stuff, I would have never believed you. 100% would never have believed you that I would like. I'm junk food for life, man. It's easy, it's quick, and it's nice. Yeah.
But it's true though. I mean, like if you try eating fruits instead of, like for example, for dessert, if you have fruits instead of, you know, a big custard apple crumble pie or some sort of carrot cake or something very high in sugar, you know, you feel the difference, because with the cake and stuff, you feel stuffed at the end. Well, where with the fruit, you just feel relaxed and feel like, you know, your day's over. Now I can, you know, relax and go to sleep without having to stay in the toilet.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But anyway, I think we can wrap it up there. There's definitely, dude, I swear this podcast needs to be longer, but I think an hour is a good time for now. But I think next episode, I think we're gonna talk about the most free countries, and that's something that we were talking about off camera. I think we'll get back to. We've completely forgot, but we've just gone on a tangent, which is kind of beautiful at the same time. We'll get back to it for the next episode, guys.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll do that the next one. Keep them waiting, innit?
Yeah, exactly. So I hope you guys have enjoyed everything. If you made it far, thank you so much for subscribe, all that good stuff. But yeah, we'll see everybody in the next video. So from Femi, Dawan, me, would you like to say goodbye to the guys?
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Later. Bye, everybody.
And we'll see you in episode 6. Bye.
All right.